Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm sharing a story you might have actually lived through yourself. Are you ready? Let's go. There was a 61-year-old woman named Margaret who managed one of the most elegant hotels in New York City. A woman who had spent her entire life making sure everyone else felt at home, while quietly forgetting what it felt like to feel anything herself. But on a cold Thursday night in November, a 29-year-old man named Daniel checked in for what was supposed to be just one single night. And what happened between them in the weeks that followed was something that nobody in that hotel, not the staff, not the guests, not even Margaret herself, ever saw coming. Margaret Hayes had worked at the Aldwyn Hotel on the Upper East Side of Manhattan for over 30 years. She had started as a front desk receptionist at the age of 29, fresh out of a small town in Ohio, full of dreams and nervous energy. Over the decades, she had climbed every rung of that hotel quietly and steadily, earning the trust of every owner, every investor, every long-term guest who passed through those revolving brass doors. By the time she turned 55, she was the general manager, and by 61, she was the soul of that building. The Aldwyn was not just a hotel to her. It was her home, her identity, her entire world. But here is what most people did not know about Margaret. Behind that perfectly pressed blazer and that calm, assured smile, there was a woman who had been lonely for a very long time. And she had been married once, briefly, in her 30s. It had ended quietly, without drama, and she had never really talked about it with anyone. After that, she had poured everything she had into her work. The hotel became her relationship. The guests became her family. And somewhere along the way, she had simply stopped believing that anything romantic was ever going to find its way back to her. She was not bitter about it. She was not sad exactly. She had just made peace with a version of her life that did not include being loved by someone. That November had been unusually cold even for New York City. The kind of cold that makes the city feel smaller, quieter, like everyone is just trying to get through it. Margaret was at the front desk that Thursday evening, covering for a staff member who had called in sick, which was something she still did from time to time because she believed a good manager never forgot where they started. It was close to 11 at night when the lobby doors opened and a man walked in pulling a single carry-on bag. He was young, that much was obvious immediately. Tall, a little tired-looking, wearing a dark coat that was slightly too thin for the weather. He walked up to the desk and introduced himself. His name was Daniel Calloway. He had a reservation for one night. Margaret checked him in the way she had checked in thousands of guests before him. Efficient, warm, professional. She handed him his key card, told him about breakfast hours, and wished him a good night. That was supposed to be the end of it. But as Daniel turned to walk toward the elevator, he stopped, turned back. Ogden said something that caught her completely off guard. He said, and this is what I keep coming back to when I think about this story, he said, "I have to tell you, this is the most beautiful lobby I have ever walked into. It feels like someone really loves this place." Margaret later told a close friend that in 30 years, not a single person had ever said anything quite like that to her. Not like that. Not with that kind of sincerity. She thanked him. He smiled. He went upstairs, and she stood there behind that desk for a long moment, just thinking about those words. The next morning, Daniel did not check out. He extended his stay by 2 nights, citing a work project that had run longer than expected. He was a structural engineer, it turned out, consulting on a renovation project for a historic building just a few blocks away. Now, over the following days, he and Margaret began exchanging small conversations at the front desk, in the breakfast room, in the lobby in the evenings when things quieted down. He asked her questions about the hotel's history. She told him about the original architecture, the renovations from the 1980s, the guest stories she had collected over the decades. He listened like someone who genuinely wanted to know. By the end of his first week, Margaret noticed something strange happening inside her. She was looking forward to those conversations, actually looking forward to them, in a way she had not looked forward to anything personal in years. She caught herself thinking about things he had said while she was doing paperwork. She found herself smiling at her desk for no visible reason. And then she would catch herself and feel something close to embarrassment because she was 61 years old and he was 29, and she told herself firmly that this was just a pleasant professional interaction and nothing more. But Daniel kept extending his stay. 1 week became 2, 2 became 3. And somewhere in that third week, he asked her very simply if she would like to have coffee with him sometime. Not in the hotel, outside, just the two of them. Margaret said no at first. She gave him a polite and reasonable explanation about professional boundaries and the nature of her role. He nodded, respected it completely, and did not push. But 3 days later, he left a small envelope at the front desk addressed to her. Inside was a handwritten note. It said, "I understand completely. I just want you to know that I have genuinely enjoyed every single conversation we have had. You are one of the most remarkable people I have met in a long time. No pressure, ever." She read that note 4 times. And on a quiet Sunday morning, 2 days later, Margaret Hayes walked into a small coffee shop 2 blocks from the Aldwyn and sat down across from Daniel Calloway. They talked for 3 hours about Ohio and about his childhood in Portland, Oregon, about architecture and about what it means to take care of something old and make it last, about loneliness, carefully, the way 2 people do when they are both feeling their way towards something they are not sure they are allowed to want. Nobody planned what happened next. Nobody scheduled it. It simply grew the way the most real things do, slowly and quietly, and with complete disregard for what anyone else might think was appropriate or logical or possible. I think about Margaret and Daniel a lot, honestly. Not because their story is dramatic, or because it ended in some perfect storybook way, but because of what it represents. There was a woman who had decided, somewhere deep inside herself, that a certain chapter of her life was simply over. That love and connection and being truly seen by another person, those things were behind her. And then one cold November night, a door opened and everything she had quietly stopped believing in walked right through it. She almost missed it. She almost said no and meant it, but she did not. And that changed everything. If this story touched something in you today, I want to hear about it. Drop a comment down below and tell me what you think about Margaret and Daniel. Do you believe that love like this is real? Have you ever heard a story that made you feel the way this one made me feel? And if you are new here, welcome. Hit that subscribe button because I share stories like this every single week. Stories about love and second chances, and the moments that find us when we have completely stopped looking for them. I will see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves.